Welcome to Melanated and Spiritually Woke. I'm your host, Adorable Earth Angel. I'm a holistic wellness educator of 12 years with a master's in public health, energy healing of 7 years, and have been a Black female spiritual alchemist my whole life. Each week, we'll be sharing uplifting, spiritually focused wellness practices to best support you in regaining your personal power, or we'll have special guest interviews with the same intention. This show is in service to all those listening, and especially for folks of color who are seeking information to support their physical, mental, and emotional spiritual awakening. These practices will help you live your best life. Welcome back to the show. This is Adorable Earth Angel. So happy to be here with you today. Today on the show, we are going to be diving into the spiritual forecast for the week, and hopefully in support and in service to everybody who is listening. I work with tarot and I work with astrology, and I chose those two forms because our ancestors used divination. They connected with nature. They connected with star systems. Africans were one of the first people to actually, document the knowledge of star systems and what they do. And so there's this resonance for me in how I show up in the world as it relates to ancient technology. And I'm hoping that by being brave and bold and having a show that talks about spirituality and using spiritual tools openly, that allows for other people who have been contemplating how they can really connect with themselves more. What are ways in which you're stifling your own ability to connect with your ancestors and their knowledge? I think it's far so easy sometimes for us to really stick with the mainstream understanding and not dig deeper. And in these times, that's not going to cut it. I say that, with love in my heart, but it's just, the times that we're in these days, there's a lot of stuff coming up. There's a lot of darkness. People are in a lot of despair. There's a lot of depression. People think the earth is just disintegrating. And I'm here to tell you that that is a story that is not fully in alignment with what's really happening. Whenever there's a spiritual evolution or a spiritual awakening, there's always a dark night of the soul. Right now, collectively, we're going through a dark night of the soul as humans. And what that means is that we have to be stronger than all of the negativity that we're experiencing. And that strength comes from a place that is that we may have never seen before, to be honest. But there's a way in which we're paving the way to have that inner strength, that inner sense of purpose. So this week, the message that I got really clearly for the 18th through, the 11th through the 18th of February is digging deep and what to do when you're the one. That's kind of like the main topic of today's show. And I'll be talking about the energies that are happening. Maybe these energies, maybe the things I'm talking about is exactly the message you need to hear right now. And that's my hope, that I'm really speaking to the people who are taking the time and energy to vibe and to be here. And, I really appreciate all the people who listen into the show and share the show, because I really think with all of the messages that we're hearing out there in the world, that we do need more opportunities to listen to things that bring more light, that bring in a broader and better perspective. And so I would be so grateful for you to consider this as a space where you can gather tools and gather a sense of inner light and healing. A lot of the things that I try to do helps create accessibility, and I try to keep things simple. Sometimes it's also the simplest things that could be the most effective. So recognize that the messages that we're going to talk about today, if it feels like it resonates, then please feel free to adopt anything. If it doesn't, then thank you for listening, and thank you for holding, a positive energy and a positive space for people by sharing this information to someone you think that might need it. So this week has a very interesting and dynamic energy. I would say it's It's one of the most powerful weeks that I'm noticing, as far as seeing like a big contrast and shift and change. The energies are changing a lot. We were going from kind of this, what I'm getting the sense of is that there's just a lot of opportunity for us to get caught up in these bigger political landscapes and kind of the illusion of things that were being shown that aren't truthful. And so there's this recognition that there's not a clear understanding of what people are saying and what they're telling us. And that could trickle down. Of course, what's happening in the bigger world trickles down into our individual lives, and then vice versa. Like we're connected to the big part of what's happening, so that's why it's so special for us to do spiritual work one-on-one with people, because as we do that, we're actually helping to heal the greater world. Some people might think, oh, like, I can't make a difference. I can't save the planet. And you can. And you do. Every time you choose the light, every time you choose to be a warrior of light, and you bring more compassion and love within your speech, and you resonate this frequency of love, every time you do that, you uplift the planet. It may not feel like it, but the planet would be in far worse shape have people not been doing that for centuries and centuries. People praying for the water, people praying for the earth, people praying for each other. And so in our own individual lives, you may find this week that there might be some falsehoods, that there might be the lack of truth telling. And that's really stemming from a place of insecurity. People might really be kind of buying into this fear-based mindset. And it might not be that people are just not telling the truth. People are just confused about what truth is. And so there might be this week, this feeling of like, what is real? What is really going on? Especially that now that we're in Aquarius season. And so we might find ourselves at gatherings, and we might just be listening to conversations and being like, is this conversation like in integrity? Should we be talking about this? Like, am I adding to something positive, or am I adding to conspiracy theory? Am I adding to information that just isn't really resonant? And so there's the time and energy that it takes for you to kind of sit with that and awaken to the fact that just kind of questioning why are we talking about this subject? And that's super important because, your words and your thoughts create your reality. And if we're all sitting around here thinking about things getting worse and things getting hard and scary, well, then more of that energy comes. If we're sitting around thinking about, looking at what we're grateful for and recognizing that we are blessed beyond we could even comprehend, that energy is the energy that pulls through. So where are we putting our boat in paddling? Are we paddling upstream, or are we paddling downstream? Because universal source energy is always on our side. We are always protected. We are always loved. Even when life is kind of throwing us a lot, we have spiritual guides. We have energy. We have beings that are with us, that are protecting us, that love us. And when we choose to focus on the negative or the delusional or just kind of the confusion, that's when we're not able to hear our guides. Our guides can't visit us when we're in that space. That's the space for that's the space for negativity. It can be hard. And a lot of people are acting from that place because all that we really want to do and feel on this earth is safe and loved. And when we don't feel safe and loved, then a lot of chaos starts to come. A lot of chaos unfolds. Right now, people are not feeling the energy of safety and love. And the number one thing that we want to feel in safety is that we're in control of our lives, that we have a sense of sovereignty and autonomy that allows us to navigate the flow of life with ease and abundance. And some people's lived experiences are showing them this feeling of lack. And it's like they're looking at their bank accounts and they're like, abundance, where is that? Or they're looking at the lack of friendships or love or children, or having an animal and just seeing the lack of things that they could possibly interpret as not having a sense of security. And so when we don't feel that security, that's the thing that creates a lot of fear and confusion. And that's when energy starts getting negative, where we start saying things because out of fear, out of jealousy, out of confusion. And so there's going to be a real kind of emphasis on speech, especially because we have Mercury traveling in Pisces right now. And so that's already a very confusing place to be. I personally, when this starts happening, I have a tendency to just not talk as much, because what I realize is that, if I'm in specifically if I'm in a space where I know people are gossiping, or the energy's getting kind of weird, the conversations are getting kind of random or scattered or just kind of like dreamy. This also, on the positive side, this could be a great time to collaborate on an art project and to communicate about art, to communicate about spirituality. But the Pisces Mercury connection is not something where you're going to like roll up your sleeves and like get down to the numbers. It's like, you're not going to get down to the details. This is not good energy for like trying to get some details together. So it could be very just kind of all over the place. And then what's happening, and you may like know this terminology, this is kind of a common thing that a lot of people hear. It's called the Mercury retrograde. And Mercury, that means the planet Mercury will appear to be going backwards in the sky as it appears from Earth. It doesn't really go backwards physically, but it just appears so, just by how the Earth, just the rotations of how Mercury appears. And that happens to a lot of planets. They go retrograde. It's common. And what that means energetically for us is that it's a time for everything to kind of go backwards a little bit. Meaning that, for one thing, we go inward more with our communication. Another thing is that just things can get a bit glitchy with technology. People could say one thing and you just can't understand them for some reason. Just being mindful to make sure that your car has enough gas and has, inflated tires and all the things are good. Because, another thing that Mercury rules is transportation and short distance travel. So making sure you have enough time to get to work, because there might be maybe some traffic. And so that happens for about 2 weeks, and it's starting next week on the 18th. And so the energy leading up to that with Mercury is a very dreamlike energy, and it could be really positive for writing songs. Songwritings are great, working on blogs and creative writing. But it's not something where if you're to do something financial and try to write down not unless you think it's like you do it in a very creative way. It's not something that's about brass and tacks. It's not really a practical energy of communication. It's definitely really dreamy. And within that, what we find is that there's something about this energy that's going to be really helpful and instrumental in us pushing through into a new chapter. And it's going to happen inward, meaning that it's not something that's like super announced and you're like, look at me, I have a new chapter. It's more so like there's an opportunity to kind of take your energy that you're putting out and going inward. So if you're with people and they're gossiping or the conversation's weird, it's really simple to just not engage in conversation and take all the energy that you're putting into judging or connecting with other people, or they're judging you, all of that, to just take the energy inward and to allow there to be a shift in consciousness by not contributing. And if we all took the time to just be in integrity with our words and not contribute, then there would be a really big shift within ourselves and within everyone around us. And that might be a shift that might feel uncomfortable, because oftentimes, it can be hard not to engage. But this is a really great time. This is a really great week to also think about your meditation practice. Meditation is the best way to give you a buffer of time between you and the world, meaning that when you meditate, it goes into your energy field and it literally creates a buffer, a space. So when someone says something, it goes through your energy field and it hits up against your meditation practice. And instead of being reactive, you could be responsive. You can say something that really aligns with who you really are. So if someone's coming at you and they're just like in a low vibration and they're trying to bring you down, When you meditate, no one can bring you anywhere. No one can take away your shine. No one can put you in a place of fear. Meditation is the best practice. And for a lot of people, there's like, well, meditation's kind of hard. I don't know if I could do that. And I just want to say there's so many ways that we can meditate, especially with technology. There's a lot of meditation apps that you could just download. I'm not going to name any specific apps because they're not sponsoring this show, but there are a lot of meditation apps that you could use. And there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. I mean, YouTube has been, I've been meditating for 10 years now. And when I first started out, I would go to YouTube and I would listen to YouTube channels and do guided meditations. And then I got to the point where I could meditate without that. And that was really nice. And it's just been like a beautiful big journey for me when it comes to meditation. And it's been a journey that's been just a privilege to kind of watch and unfold. And all the meditation asks you for is your time, which, when you think about it, there's so many ways that we invest in ourselves in other ways, whether it's getting our hair done, whether it's investing in the food that we eat. And what I love is that a lot of times my meditation teacher tells me, it's like, meditation is the only way you can clean your mind. You wash your body, you brush your teeth, you floss. But a lot of us are walking around with dirty minds. We're walking around with all of this clutter in our brain. Meditation is the only medicine that cures that. I haven't found one thing on my 10 years of being on this spiritual journey. I have not found one thing that works better than meditation. Not one. It is the thing that has changed and saved my life. And when everyone meditates, when everyone connects to that frequency, that movement, and meditation can look like a lot of things. Meditation is actually found in yoga classes. Yoga is a form of active movement through poses, through intention. And as you give your attention and as you sit with the poses and as you breathe, you're focusing. And what meditation does is it allows us to focus inward so that our outward realities can change. I invite you to kind of think about that in this moment. And I'm talking to you and I'm curious, like, what does your meditation practice look like? And it doesn't have to be that you actually, put a timer on, close your eyes, breathe, focus. It could be that when you're driving, you're just really kind of focused on your breath, right? And just kind of thinking wherever you're at right now, whether you're cooking, driving, all of the many things, lying down, whatever you could be doing right now, I just invite you to think about your breath. Think about how your breath flows in through your nostrils and how it flows out. And as your breath flows out, I'd invite you to think about, as it flows out, if all of the tension in your shoulders or any tension in your body, your lower back, notice if you can sit up straight with a straight spine or stand up straight if you're standing. And as we meditate, as we kind of close our eyes, as we just be in this moment, just feeling the frequency of wellness, feeling the frequency of things feeling quiet and calm and collective. And in that feeling, allowing yourself to be with the truth. That there's nothing that you can't be, do, or have. That everything that you want, everything that you desire comes to you. Everything that you want, everything that you desire comes to you with ease, with surrender, and with the ability to recognize that you are light. And every time that we go inward, we tap into that light source. And when we have that light source, we connect with this infinite energy of service. And so that kind of brings me to the themes of digging deep. And the theme of digging deep is that even through the darkness, even through the negative feelings, the people, the relations, the feelings of confusion in relationships and delusion, there's still the opportunity to dig deep. and to dig into that inner reservoir and connect with that light source. And as we connect with that light source, pushing into this place of service. When we are in a place of service, that means that we feel loved and we have our needs taken care of. And that, there's a degree to that, right? There's a degree in which we could still not be in a good place and try to serve, but is that really serving? Real service is making sure that you are taken care of first, that you have your needs met, and as you do so, you're serving from a place of strength. And when the world can see you turn on, when the world can see you turn up in your strength and your glory, that's what we're all waiting for. You are the one that we're waiting for. You are the one that we are waiting for to save everyone. And I'm saying that to all the light workers, all of the light beings out there. And if you're like, what's a light worker? What's a light being? It is someone who is consistently putting their efforts and their energies towards bringing more light into the world, more positivity, more love and compassion and dignity. And that comes naturally for some people, and for some people they have to work at it. Like myself, it does not come natural. I had to work to get like this. I did not start off, thinking about meditation and light, and I had a very pessimistic mindset, and I had to do a lot of work on myself. Some people I know, feels like they hardly ever do anything super spiritual, and they're just like, but I mean, and even those people, what I know about them is that they had a really strong spiritual upbringing as a child. And so as an adult, they're like light years away. So that brings me to another thing that I'm seeing and that's the theme of childlike joy. There's the theme of thinking about your children this week and thinking about if you have children in your life, if you have nieces and nephews, if you have children, family and friends, their kids, and just thinking about the way in which children connect with that light within themselves and they express it, and the joy that they bring when they express their light. That can be really, really amazing right now, because something that's really important about our expression this week is around kind of being in that light and that service to that inner child. We just recently had the full moon in Leo, and Leo is the energy of the child. It's the energy of childlike joy. And so this week is a great week to kind of pull that energy through and to just also be just, again, aware of moments where there's conversations that just don't feel like they're really supporting something positive within you and around you. Recognize that people might be acting out of a sense of fear and insecurity. And, to only, it's like, how do we amplify the world we want to see? It's like you can see that and choose not to comment on it. You commenting on what people are going through and their lack of integrity doesn't translate as you being in integrity. And as we kind of instead of going outward and trying to point the blame and see this person, we go inward and say, you know what? There's something I could be doing to make more light in the world so that this person right here has a different experience. I can bless this person silently. I can create more light and healing for them by blessing them silently than by trying to say something out loud. And so there's digging deep, there's going inward, connecting to the light source, and in there finding and seeing something within you that, that might be surprising. I mean, the best way that I can describe it is when you dig deep, what you'll find is a sense of calm. Calm is the energy of what kind of creates the healing work that we need on the world. Peace and calm, right? Peace and calm. And when we individually create a calm mind, when we calm our mind, when we're not driven by addiction, when we're not driven by clinging and cravings, when we're not driven by trying to avoid pain, of having an avoidance of things that don't feel good, when we can be in the state of calm and peace and harmony with whatever is, that is when we're truly the masters of our energy. And that's when we can be super creative and super joyful. And that's when we can be the light, the ones that we're waiting for. Because in this darkness, like when we're looking at TV and watching this the news says this and that, that's when we're getting swirled in. That's when we're getting swirled in again to that illusion. There's going to be this illusion. Fox News, illusion. Movies are illusions. The only truth is the thing that feels calm inside of you when you meditate. That is the only truth. That is the only truth that's really true. The calm when you meditate, when you go inward, when you feel peace, when you wake up in the morning and you're outside and you hear the birds, that is the truth. That is the truth. And that is the truth that everyone needs to recognize, that there's no one out there that's going to save you. Nobody. The only people that are going to make this world better and brighter are the people that are listening to shows like this, people that are uplifters, people who are out there making a difference in seeing the darkness, seeing the suffering, but still choosing to bring joy. That is some strength that is just unmatched. And that comes only when we're able to go inward and fill up our inner cup. And once we go inward and fill that cup up, then we can then go outward and be the light. And it's kind of like a figure 8. This is what I'm seeing for this week. So it's like this week, the homework is to kind of assess your mindfulness. With the Mercury retrograde, things are going to get a little zany, and we're in Pisces, so it's really going to be kind of zany. Pisces is so watery and just kind of it's fantasy, it's illusionary, and it's like when it's retrograde, it's even more amplified, and so there's just a way in which we can ground in the truth of feeling that calm and feeling that joy and feeling that dignity and feeling that light. And we have it within us. We have it within us to be who we're supposed to be. It feels really complete. This show feels super complete. I'm super inspired by you, listener, and I'm really grateful for the healing work that you're doing. And I invite you to just pass this message on in your own way this week. You don't have to literally say anything that I said, but just act it out. Like, what would it be to experiment with your life, to act it out? If you don't already, if you haven't already tried any of the things that I've spoken to, what would it be to act that energy out and to bring that energy to the forefront? I have so much love for you, and I'm wishing you the best of weeks. Please stay tuned to kcbzradio.com. We have tons of programming. I have a perspective. There's a bunch of other perspectives. Check out other radio shows and let us know what you think. Go to kcbzradio.com, and that's probably how you found this show. But just check us out and check out all the different ways that you can connect. This show happens once a week. I will be back next week, and I'll be with you, and I'll be talking about the energies of next week. Thank you for interacting with me. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for emailing me and connecting. My website is adораbleenergy.com. And I love hearing from you. I love just hearing from you and hearing about, what this show means to you, and just any feedback, good or positive. Yeah, that's the only feedback that I want, good or positive. No, any type of feedback whatsoever. Wow, that was really funny. And again, I'm so blessed for you all. I love you so much. And I just want to send a special shout out to my dad, because my dad listens to this show. He's told me he listens to every single show. So I just want to shout out my dad, Hunter Vassar, in Atlanta, Georgia. I love you so much, Dad. Sending you so much light on your journey. And all the dads out there, sending you some love and light. All the moms, all the people everywhere, in your various ways of being. Until next week. Goodbye.